What's up, you guys? Justin Rivas here, wanting to provide an update on my Sony a6500. If you've been following along the saga, I did the Nikon thing, then I did the Panasonic thing, and I recently switched to the Sony thing. And I was pretty apprehensive about it because for a vlogging camera, it just had a lot of compromises. But what's been really interesting is I've been spending a lot of time not doing necessarily vlogging, but more content creation for companies for social media. And it is with that angle that I want to declare that the Sony a6500 is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, there were a lot of drawbacks about it, which I've touched on before, but as a recap, there's no selfie screen, no way to be able to see yourself if you've got the camera going this way. The battery life doesn't last all that long. On 4K, when you're moving the camera around a lot, there's that rolling shutter, which makes lines look crooked, or can make it look a little bit more wobbly. And those things were kind of, in some ways, taken away from my experience coming from a vlogging camera. It took me a little while to get through it. The touchscreen wasn't as good as the Panasonic, still kind of worked, but the main reason for my switching was the focusing. The focusing on the Sony cameras is just so good. And so I was really appreciating that part of it. That's really about the only thing that it had over the Panasonic systems that it came from. But what I found is that focusing system is everything. Absolutely everything when it comes to creating run and gun social media content. Because for me, when I'm working with companies to be able to do that kind of content creation, maybe I'll throw up a video here of a canning video I did for a local brewery. Having something like this Sigma 18-35 1.8 millimeter lens, which is an absolute beast, but with that shallow depth of field, you need the focus to be spot on. And so for that kind of video, being able to turn on the Sony, put it into autofocus, and just know that it is going to nail the focus, not be slow, but it's going to smoothly get there and get it, meant that I was able to create a video like this, which is, you know, about a 60-second teaser. I shot the video and edited it and posted it in a 2-hour window. And that kind of time savings is absolutely unbelievable, where something like the Panasonic system that I was shooting on could make videos like that. In some ways, couldn't do the crazy slow motion until you get up to something like a GH4 is close at 96 frames per second. This can shoot 120 frames per second, whereas the other Panasonic cameras are 60 frames per second. Being able to go twice as slow adds some magic. But the Panasonic ones with the focusing is you really have to run manual focus and make sure you get the shots, or you risk all that extra pulsing that comes in the focusing that in a video like that you couldn't have, because it would look unprofessional, especially in that slow motion. You would see it going in and out of focus, whereas this combination, even with this MC11 adapter for Sigma and Sony cameras to make them work together, is just so good. And when you're talking about other Sony lenses like this 10-18 millimeter, I mean, this just works. It's so wide that, you know, it's f4. There's going to be a lot that's going to be in focus, but being able to take a 50 millimeter, put it in an autofocus, and shoot a video like maybe the one that I'm playing right now is kind of a ridiculous teaser for something we were doing, but having that focus just nailed makes it so much faster. And when you're talking about creating, you know, social media content that maybe isn't a vlog, vlog's a little bit different. You want to have that selfie screen. You want to have a couple of those features that, you know, maybe you're not going to get specifically in this camera. But when you're talking about creating content for other people where you need to capture that moment, and lots of social media content creation is run and gun, and you don't get 2 or 3 chances to be able to go. Even in a vlog, you know, something doesn't work out, there's a good chance you can reshoot it unless it was in the moment when they're going by, and that's when you want the focusing system to work. But when you're shooting something for a client, and maybe it's an event, and there's that magical moment, you can't say, hey, stop everybody, let's do that thing again. You just need it to work. And so for that, that is why I am super, super happy with this a6500. It's been an absolute beast for that. For our Facebook Live show, what's been nice is, one, it has that clean HDMI output, which Panasonic has as well. Canon doesn't in their lower end ones, meaning I can go HDMI out of this into, now we've got a whole video switcher and do our Facebook Live show with this camera, but I can leave it in autofocus on the wide setting, and it just nails our faces. I don't have to worry about that, and I can run at 1.8 with this lens, have a really blurred out background, and it's just constantly keeping our faces in focus. That's really, really handy. And so as an all-around social media content creator, if you're behind the camera and not trying to vlog in front of the camera, it's fantastic. Even the vlogs I've done, I've been able to shoot a vlog without looking at myself, but that's mostly based on the experience I had from having a selfie screen, being able to do it. I don't know that I'd want to do that for forever. If you're looking for a vlogging camera, buy the new Canon T7i. Relatively inexpensive. Focus is absolutely nailed. Low light quality is fantastic because it's got that big crop sensor. The 10 to 18 millimeter lens for Canon is like $270 US, whereas this one on the Sony is $1,000 Canadian. It's probably like $700 or $800 US. Canon T7i is a great thing, but if you're looking for something where, one, you can shoot 4K, which is really handy for interviews if you're doing interview style videos because you're able to kind of crop in afterwards. This can shoot the 4K. It's got that 120 frames per second slow motion, which is absolutely magical. The focusing system is Dynamite. You can get into these Sony or Sigma lenses fairly easy with the Sigma MC11 converter. That opens up a whole world of other slightly more budget options. Photo works well. It's got the Wi-Fi. It's not the best system in the world, but you can get those images from your camera over to your phone if you need to post them quickly for social media. And overall, I would say I've really been enjoying this camera. It's not so big. You can't just throw it in your bag. It goes in my messenger bag right here, 15-inch laptop. I can put 2 cameras, 3 lenses, no problem, without it being too big or too heavy. Anyway, that's my update on this camera. As far as a vlogging camera goes, I think there's better options. But as far as a content creation, which is becoming more and more popular, that people are hiring people for social media, shoot photos, create videos, do that, I think this is an unbelievable tool. That in-body image stabilization is part of why I like it over the a6500, just giving you a little bit smoother shots when you're hand holding in that run and gun situation. Otherwise, you could go with the a6300. That's maybe not, the end of the world, but I do really appreciate that about that. Anyway, overall, I'm happy with this camera. I'm not sad that I switched. If I was still doing a lot of the vlogs, which isn't as much of my rotation now, I think I'd be missing some of those features from the Panasonic more, but quality on it is fantastic for all these other things. Anyway, I'm Justin Rivas. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that's a good update. As always, your comments are greatly welcomed, appreciated. Happy to do that. Throw a thumbs up. If you're new and watching this, click subscribe. There's tons of great videos on this channel. Adios.